All
Hey
right.
Ryan,
Yeah.
Ryan, where do you put those recordings, by the way?
I have them saved on my computer currently. I need to upload those into YouTube. I'll get that done probably today or tomorrow.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Thanks.
Previous recordings. So I want to talk a little bit about the difference today. Let me do a screen share here on my other screen, and I'm gonna just turn my video off. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about today about a couple of different Facebook groups that I highly suggest that you become a part of and pay close attention to. There's a gentleman by the name of Tim Bird, and Tim is probably one of the top ads guys that I've ever come across. And he has a couple Facebook groups that I want to kind of let you guys know about. He also runs an organization called AdLeaks. Bring that up here. And the reason I want to share these with you is because this is a great resource for really understanding in more depth the who, the what, the how, the whole nine yards. So let me bring this up really quick. AdLeaks is an organization that has a lot of really good information. They've inside of here has Facebook ads, has a lot of knowledge bombs. It also has inside the Facebook ad, time to optimize Facebook ads, Facebook access partner categories. Sorry, everybody. My email's blown up. I don't know why it's blown up now. And I wanted to find, there's a strategy that I want to just make sure. So connecting a messenger chatbot to your ad, something to consider. Don't be confused about the conversion window. So they have some more basic trainings, and then they have some more advanced trainings. Building a video chatbot for your Facebook page. Lots of really, really good stuff here. And inside of the Knowledge Bomb section right here, it has the list of all of the different types of knowledge bombs that they've created from the beginning. There's been some really, really good ones, and I want to talk a little bit about social proof and how that works as far as using a post ID to maintain social proof here in just a minute. But these are all different categories, different conversations that you should be reviewing if you haven't yet. These are actually all blog posts. But on Facebook, he has a couple different groups. One is called the Facebook Ad Buyers group. Let me just open this, and I want to make sure you guys all have it. So there's two. There's the local business Facebook ad buyers, and then there's the Facebook ad buyers. I want to make sure that you guys are part of both of these organizations. So if you have not subscribed to these groups, make sure you go in and subscribe to them, because there's some really, really, really good content inside of here. And I'll just show you some. And a lot of the knowledge bombs that they come up with for AdLeaks is a direct result to questions that are being asked inside of these Facebook groups, and especially for local businesses. Very, very, very important. And just make sure you read through. Make sure you read through a lot of these different things. A guy, this Chris Colvard, he has created what they call a carpet bombing strategy, and it's actually really cool. So anyway, this will have some really good insights as far as, so last week I shared how you can help schools fill their classrooms, get more students. Here's the link here and the whole strategy associated with it. There's a lot of questions that are part of this. I've gotten great results for a local donut shop in my local town on Facebook ads, running PPE ads. These are easy to market for most popular, most people love donuts. However, I'd like to take to the next level and get them extreme results. So questions that they'll go through, dialogues that'll happen. Anyone running campaigns to drive enrollments for school and education institutions right now. Here's some insights. Depending on the market that you're playing in, it's really good. And you're welcome to ask questions inside of here and get feedback. So if you're not part of this group, this organization already, make sure that you're a part of it, because it's something that's extremely important and powerful. As a matter of fact, if it has a search feature inside of this group, if I just go in and type in carpet bomb, which is one of the methodology that some people use, here's an actual post right here that talks about the carpet bomb methodology and exactly how it works. Well, that didn't take me to the actual link. Let me go back and look here. The reason I'm sharing that with you is I believe that this video strategy that we're working with, and the way we've tried to position the video strategy that we're working with Gnarly Escapes, is this carpet bomb methodology. So I'm gonna just click on the post, see if it takes me there that way. Yeah, here we go. So here's the carpet bomb technique. For those that are new to the carpet bomb technique, here's my notes. Detailed synopsis. The video needs to be 20 to 30 seconds long. Video needs to have a pattern interrupt to grab attention within the first 3 seconds. Video needs to explain what we're offering. Must have a call to action. So here's a whole strategy that we ought to consider implementing when it comes to video assets specifically for our business. And I see, Brunson, you're a part of this already. Looks like we've got some other people that are part of this that I'm connected to specifically, but this has the whole strategy. So let's, and I want to go back and review a different technique, maybe in our Wednesday training, or Chelsea, when is our next training? What days do we determine? Monday and what day?
Wednesdays.
Okay. And what time are we doing those on Wednesdays? In the morning, correct?
I believe it's like 10 or 11 maybe.
Okay, we don't have it in the calendar, so will you go and create an event? Let's do those at 10, because
Okay.
Wednesdays at 11 are going to be our Hot Topics webinar. So anyway, so inside of here, as a matter of fact, we'll talk about this carpet bombing technique in more depth on Wednesday. So cool stuff. But today I want to talk about using social proof to build more value, using a post ID to maintain social proof. So I just want to review this really quick here in the next 15 minutes, and you're welcome to ask questions as we go through this. And we'll just read through this blog post collectively. As we all know, a post with good engagement, likes, comments, and shares is worth its weight in gold. It's human nature. People just trust a company or an individual more when they see others interacting with their content. This is what marketers refer to as social proof. But unfortunately, from what we've seen in the forum, not many marketers are using Facebook ads, know how to maintain that social proof when creating new campaigns. And that's the crazy part. It actually is a very simple trick, using your post ID. So what this means is if you have a post inside of a Facebook ad campaign that's running really well, and you want to create a new, let's say that campaign has closed out, has finished, you can actually create, using the social proof from that asset, that advertisement asset with the engagements, you can actually create a new post by leveraging the post ID. So here's how you do it. And it says here, many audiences, we have seen this lower your cost per action by as much as 50% by itself. So step one is locate the post ID. So you'll see inside the business manager, you can go to page posts. You locate the post that's actually having the most engagements. It says navigate to page post section, find the post page section in the menu of the ads manager. Next, you'll want to locate the post ID for the ad that is performing really well. In the example above, you could choose any of the three, but I decided to choose the second one, which has 95,000 in reach and 557 engagements. 97 lifetime engagements. Step two is to create a new ad. So once you have located the ID, it's time to create the new ad. This can be used in any existing ad set, new ad set, or even new campaign with completely different objectives. Then create the post is where the secret lies. Okay, so inside of here, from here, you'll select use existing post. Then under the selected page post, there's a link that says enter post ID. Go ahead and click on that link and then copy and paste the post ID and hit submit. After you've done it, it's time to submit for approval. So if you're getting a lot of engagements and you want to leverage a post inside of an ad or even an organic strategy, because as you'll notice here, see how it says reach, and it has a vast majority of the organic content. So what you want to do is you want to basically pull the ad ID in, and then when you're creating the new ad, you'll just go into the section which talks about the assets. You can create the ad or you can use the existing post. You copy and paste the post ID in here, and then it drives better results. So now that you've created the campaign, it's been approved, we highly recommend duplicating this ad set and testing multiple audiences. So once you've submitted that, then you can go in and duplicate the ad set and test multiple different audiences against the same social proofed ad that or the ad set that's been created, right? So you'll select your marketing objective, and then once you actually get into your marketing objective, right into the ad set, that's where you'll go in. And it's at the ad level, as you know. Obviously, you're going to select the post ID at the ad level. So go through the full process of creating that ad set. Use your page post ID as the use existing post to run the ad. And I believe you can do this with any different type of objective. However, right, if this is an engagement post, it's the next step in the funnel. So if you're running a carpet bomb strategy, for instance, and you have a lot of good engagements that are happening on the actual page post, if you ask for an engagement and then they build in that engaged element to it, so they're liking, commenting, and sharing on that specific page post or the ad that you're running, then you can take the ad, again, the page post that's tied to it, and from there you can build a new ad. Now, keep in mind as well that there's a difference between dark post ads, which are pages or ads that are not currently on your page, and page post ads, right? So sometimes we'll exclude your Facebook business page or people that have liked your page, so it doesn't show up on the actual page. Just pay attention to that. You can split test that, and then you can also see if you can pull the page post ad from dark post ads. I believe it's only posts that are actually on their business page. That would make sense there. So what does this make any sense at all? What questions do you have?
I've got one, Ryan.
Okay, go ahead.
So when you pull in this new ad set, are you allowed to change the copy, or like, do you have to use, because you're still keeping the same engagement, are you allowed to change anything with the ad when you create a new ad set?
That's a really good question. I believe when you use the existing post ad set, the only thing you can change is the audience at the ad set level. I don't believe you can change the creative behind it.
Because then it changes the post, which means,
correct.
Yeah.
Now you potentially could, before you create the ad set, most likely you'll be able to go in and change the creative before you duplicate the actual post itself, right? Before you pull the ad, the post ID, because it's just going to basically take from the post ID all the creative that's associated with that and bring that to this to build as an existing post. But once you actually run the ad, I think that the strategy behind this is, how do you, if you're getting engagements on the actual post, you probably won't want to change a whole lot of the creative, obviously, because it's working. So then what you want to just do is split test audiences in connection with the social proof that's already built in.
Okay, gotcha.
Does that make sense, Miriam and Lori? Any other follow-up questions with that?
Not specifically this, but something that's been on my mind related to, you mentioned not including people who like your page, those kinds of things. So unless we're intentionally like focusing on completely new audiences, and like, should we always include the connections that are already on their page? Like, there's the option at the end of creating the audience section in the ad set, and it says include connections. So maybe I'm misunderstanding, but does that mean that it would only be people within that criteria that you just listed and the connections, so there wouldn't be anyone else outside of the connections?
Yeah. So, my suggestion is to always include those people that have liked your Facebook page as far as your ad sets are concerned, because it's
Mhm.
another way of building that social proof.
Right. So but when we select that one, does it limit to only those people who've liked the
No,
page, or does it
no,
still expand?
no, it still expands the audience.
Okay. My
It's just
understanding was
including those people that have liked the page, so that if they have friends that have liked the page as well, then that builds an element of social proof into the ad.
right. Right, of course. Okay. I guess I was understanding that specific button a bit differently. So thank you.
So let's just talk about practical application. In your mind, how would we best use this aspect? In what scenarios would you find, and this is open for anyone, in what scenarios would you find this to be of value? Miriam, why don't you figure out, like, for instance, with Ashley, right? Ashley Home Store. How could we best use something like this?
Yeah, if I understand correctly, I think it would be, since we're running social media management for a lot of our clients, we know kind of the back strategy, at least we should. And so we can go in and see how the posts on the page are performing, and then leverage some of those as ads based off the organic performance that they've had. So we need to be working as a unit on both the social media management and ads to leverage the most valuable posts and content that we can, so that we're getting the best result for the client.
Yeah. So let's go through like a scenario. So for instance, we have this $2 million sell-off going on basically the whole summer, right?
Yeah.
We have video assets that we've created. We have social media management, organic strategies that we've leveraged. A lot of times this section of running an ad campaign is in the social proof element. So how would we define, in your mind, who the potential target audience would be if we're split testing audiences?
Just going in and looking at what's performing better based off the audience size and based off the demographics.
Okay. So if this is a remarketing strategy, right? If we're leveraging a boosted post, or if we're leveraging an ad that was placed on the actual Facebook page, how could we, what other ways do you guys think of? And Miriam, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but what are other ways that what other audiences could we split test this against? You're right. I mean, it's not wrong to split test against general audiences, but what other, and where, so let's think about this. Where are these people in the funnel currently? And then how do we best leverage previous elements of the ad product to get it in front of the right person? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure where you're going, what you're looking for. I feel like you're looking for a specific answer, and I'm not sure.
Okay. So let's dialogue through this. So if we're running a remarketing ad campaign from a funnel perspective, and we're trying to build social proof, that means they're probably more warmed up in the actual funnel than a cold audience, right? So they've watched videos. So what I would suggest in this regard is we take this type of a social proof play, and we leverage this social proof at a remarketing audience of people that have paid attention, have hit the website through the pixel, have watched a certain percentage of video view assets, and begin that as our beginning audience, right?
Yeah.
Again, because they're further down the funnel. Now, a lot of times when we run this type of a strategy at a cold traffic, the engagements and the continual engagements and the success of those campaigns is going to increase dramatically. So what we want to try to do is we want to try to run this type of a strategy at a more of a warm or a hot audience. And as you see here, like Tim Bird says, oops, it looks like you forgot to register. Not convinced yet. See what it's all about. So these are people, this specific ad set is people that have already been through a certain portion of the funnel. So running this type of a strategy at a cold audience may not be the best, but that's where we split test it. Does that make sense? Kind of where I'm coming from?
Totally. I get exactly what you're doing. So my strategy currently, like using Ashley as an example, oftentimes when we're running giveaways or promotions, we run those videos at a cold audience, and then we put together image-based ads that are talking more specifically about the sale to, people that have engaged on their page, people that have watched videos, people that have, commented on their posts. And so I see what you're saying in that it's important to put the right content in front of the right people, based off of where they're at in the sales funnel. People that have engaged with us in the last, like right now I'm running, I think the last 180 days, because that means in the furniture space, it's important that, people are looking for furniture generally for a longer amount of time.
Yes.
They want to pick the right furniture. And so we're targeting people that have looked at Ashley's page or engaged somehow with them in the last 180 days, because we know that they're interested in buying furniture. So we're going to try and promote this $2 million sale to them with the right content.
That's right. And this strategy, by leveraging a page post, could be a good additional strategy in connection with everything else we're running, but to split test and see how it works, right? Because in this case, if you have your post ID, you already have social proof built into the ad set. It would carry over the comments and the likes and the shares, and then it continues to build more value based on the actual creative that's associated with that page post.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, that's exactly right. So understanding again, and I'm bringing this back to kind of a high level perspective so that we understand the flow process of how we create these ads. So first and foremost, obviously, we want to make sure we're building an element of engagement on the front end in our brand awareness campaigns, whether that's a video view asset, which is what we're doing with Gnarly Escapes as well. The next ad set that I'm going to create with Gnarly Escapes is I'm going to create something that asks for specific engagements on the actual post. So it's an education piece, but it'll be the next element of what's happening or what I see the buyers need to have. And then the third ad set is going to be testimonials. So I'll be running these sequentially so that when they watch that first 100% ad set, they'll go to the next step. As a matter of fact, there was a post on there that had a new record, and there was a lot of engagements. I'm going to use that as the second ad set for this page post ID. It was posted on the page organically, and I'm going to leverage that for the second ad set, and then the testimonials on the third ad set. Does that make sense? So it's, again, awareness, education, social proof. Awareness, education, social proof are the 3 steps in the funnel to get them to the acquisition. And we're building this little small audience of people by leveraging a carpet bomb strategy with Gnarly Escapes currently. The next step, again, I'm going to leverage a page post that's getting, it's of people. I'm going to leverage that page post with the page post ID to create more exposure at like a $2 a day budget. And then from there, we're going to run the testimonial videos at the end. Make sense, guys? Any other questions?
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me. And I think this is important, for us to always be looking at what is the next step for our clients. When we're running a lot of awareness campaigns, the next month our focus needs to be dropping people into the consideration and the education space. And so it's always, we want to be progressing with each and every one of our clients. And so we need to just always have that sales funnel in mind. Maybe the next training we could do is we could go over in depth that sales funnel once again, so that people know what the next step is and what we do to get our clients and their audiences there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and just always recognize it, and this doesn't have to be a month-to-month basis, right? Because we most likely need to be spending about 50 to 60% of the ad dollars in new brand awareness campaigns, 20 to 30% of those in a remarketing educational piece. And then the difference, obviously, of all of that would be the social proof. And these can be running sequentially. We should be having 3 different ad sets running at the same time on the same budget so that they're hit a lot more quickly. So once a criteria inside of, for instance, a page view or a website visit is hit, then that next remarketing ad campaign should be coming out instantaneously. So they're seeing a different product inside of Facebook's ads. I mean, think about it again. Think about it from the terms of Amazon, right? The minute you add a product inside of Amazon, there's no 7 or 28 day window before you see that image again or that product again. It happens instantaneously. So we need to be, with each one of our clients, we need to have remarketing, retargeting efforts going sequentially as we're leveraging those brand awareness campaigns to continue to build the audience. And then depending on the responses inside the remarketing, retargeting, we can change the creative for that, but they need to be happening instantaneously so that if person number 1 is watching 100% of the video view, we need to be able to lead them to those next steps in the funnel as quickly as, and let the customer dictate how they're going through that journey versus us waiting for time to dictate how we're going through that journey. Does that make sense? Yes, no? Anyone?
Yes, absolutely. Hey,
Yes,
Ryan,
sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead, Adam.
So with this, so we've got the 3 steps. Now, if somebody only watches part of the video and we say, hey, in order to move on to the next step, they have to watch 75%. Are there sub audiences within those 3 steps? Is that too advanced?
Absolutely. No, it's extremely important. So let's say, for instance, they have a 25% video view watch, and in order to trigger the next campaign, they need to watch 75%. We can create another educational brand awareness campaign of people that have watched 25% that need to go from step 1 to step 1A to get to step 2, right? So yeah, and this is why, and I'm hoping that you're seeing the vision of this. This is why it's extremely important with every client, and if we haven't done this yet, ads managers, we need to do it, to lay out the customer journey for every single one of our clients so that we know what type of assets to create, video assets, image assets to create so that we can drive them from step 8 or step 1 to step 5 or 4 or whatever that looks like in the process. But if we don't currently have brand awareness, remarketing, start to finish with an identification of what that looks like from an advertising perspective, then we need to make sure we need to take a step back and draw out that funnel. And if you need my assistance in this process, or ads managers, if we don't have that already, or account managers, if we don't have that already, that needs to be identified and put together probably before the end of this month, so that when we create the assets for next month, we know what that sales journey looks like for those customers. And if we don't know that, then this will be on the shoulders of our account managers to talk with the clients to figure out what that customer journey looks like, start to finish.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think that's a great idea. I got to jump off and get to class.
Okay, thanks for your
training.
All right, any other questions, guys?
No, not for me.
Is this way, Chelsea, Coulter, Brunson? What feedback? What questions do you have?
I can't unmute it. Sorry. No, I'm just thinking about how this whole process works with overall strategy and how my brain's going to process it all.
No problem.
So.
Yeah, from an advertising perspective, the strategy should be, right, how do we take person from initial point of contact down through conversion, right? And so how do we leverage all the pieces of the ad product, social media management, to take them in that journey? And I think that is the key, guys. I'm going to say it again. This is the key for us to scale and grow to a $50 to $100 million company. That right there is how we are different than anyone else that's running ads. Most people that are running ads in local markets are running awareness campaigns, hoping something converts. I want to get to the place where we run conversion campaigns at the end of the funnel to increase the conversions and decrease the cost of acquisition and conversions, so that we're seeing a better result for the clients that we're working with, and they'll never have the question of, are we doing this right?
Absolutely. I'll jump in here, Ryan. I mean, this is, for anybody that's trying to sell something, or Chelsea, while you're upselling, the difference between the awareness, the consideration, and the conversion type packages, and why one of our clients should shift between an awareness and go towards the conversion. Now, we want to run, these value-based campaigns for every client, because we want them to end up with conversions.
Yep.
But honestly, if they've only purchased an awareness campaign and that package, then we're not going to spend, 3 times as much time, or whatever you want to call it, on that particular client, because they've chosen a strategy that is more like a radio ad rather than a conversion ad and a sequence that happens step by step to take somebody from cold contact to closed lead.
Yep.
So I think that's part of the conversation that we could be having in more depth, and why there's so much value in them pursuing a conversion type campaign and strategy like this.
Yeah, and I think, Colter, you're exactly right. It's and you're right in also saying that these are not ad campaigns that we need to run for every single customer, because we're only getting paid to do certain things. But if we identify this process and if we articulate it appropriately, then those what's great about that is that gives us a lot easier chance of upselling to another client in that process, or upselling to another package with our existing clients, and providing a lot more value. I mean, if we help them understand, the dynamics behind why we have 3 different packages, and also show them the power in what we can do, and explain to them, like Amazon, for instance, if you put something in your cart with Amazon and they never even reminded you about that thing that was in the cart, would you ever go back and buy it? Well, it's the same thing. If we have this brand awareness campaign that we're running based on the package that you've purchased, and we never go back and, meet the needs over and over again with them, or go to this next step that you identified, which is the next step in the funnel, then you're missing out on the actual power that comes from the ad product associated with running ads. So
I think it's one, us being aware of the distance that we go. Now, we want them to see results on every package, every single. But then it's us being able to articulate what the next step is for them, so they understand, okay, we've had success with the package that I selected. Let's call it an awareness campaign. Now let's take it to the next level, because I want to see the results of, that the type of banner ad that you would see on Amazon. And I want to have a reminder for those people who have engaged with my content previously. So I think, there's a lot of value in us just showing and articulating, the difference between the packages, but also the value that they will see from one version to the next, recognizing that there is value in each and every one that they have. So.
Yeah, and I think in addition to that, what it does for our clients is it helps them understand that we're really on their team of trying to understand the customer journey, and having that perception of us being on the team, which we are, but also giving them indication that we're doing things above and beyond what they've asked us to do, as far as really trying to define what that customer journey looks like. They're a lot more likely, obviously, from a longevity perspective, to stay with us if we've helped them even identify what that looks like, right? Providing additional measures of value. Because quite honestly, and I would venture to guess that many business owners don't understand what the online customer journey looks like. And so I think what we can do is, I think we probably need to put together an infographic of some sort with this, Colter, so that we can show very simply the differences between a brand awareness campaign, a consideration campaign, and a conversion campaign in terms of a customer journey, so that we can articulate when we're having those meetings from an account management perspective, when we're having those conversations, they can see what the next steps look like as well, and how, if they want to increase, the package size with us, that we can do that. move forward.
Yeah, let's put it together. Let's get it designed. I like it.
All right. I'll work with
If
Tyler.
you write that up, Ryan, if you write that up and send it to me, I can send it to our design resource.
Okay. Yep. I can. I'll create something here this morning.
Chelsea and Jocelyn, you'll be having a lot of those conversations with the clients. If we want to just have kind of a meeting as to what the conversation has been looking like, and then just go through that. Maybe we can just all make notes and get an idea as to what that might look like.
Sounds good.
Probably do it in what do you think it'd take? 15 minutes, Ryan?
Yeah, probably. Yep. I'll draw it up here while we're you're welcome to stay on. I'm just going to draw this up really quick and put some details behind it so that we know what those next steps are.
Is the sales meeting going to be on this link as well?
Yes.
Okay, well, we have a call for the account managers and ad reps. We have like 2 hours of straight calls every Monday morning. So we're going to jump off onto that call really quick.
Okay, you got it. All right, see ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye, thank you.
Okay, so let's do our sales call. Okay, let's see.
Is it just going to be on here, Ryan?
I'm going to stop this recording really quick.